Welcome to Stories and Rhymes, Oh My. I'm Valerie, and this is Buckeye Chuck. He's Ohio's groundhog. Well, what does that have to do with anything, right? Well, that's because today is February 2nd, 2021, and it's Groundhog Day. Da-da-da! He's really excited because he has a really big job to do today. He gets to get out of his hole, stretch, and see if he can predict whether or not we have 6 more weeks of winter. Da-da-da! How does he do that? Well, if he sees his shadow, he's going to get scared. And what do you think would happen if he gets scared? That's right. He's going to jump back into his hole and sleep for 6 more weeks of winter. So what do we want? We don't want him to see his shadow so that he'll stay out and play. Da-da-da! Actually, I think he'd like that too. All right, so let's have a little fun and have some rhymes and a story. We're going to start with the first rhyme. I'm a little groundhog, short and stout. February 2nd, I will pop out. If I see my shadow, they will shout. 6 weeks more winter without a doubt. I hope not. As you can tell, winter's not my favorite season. Old Groundhog stretched in his leafy bed. He turned over slowly, and then he said, I wonder if spring is on his way. I'll go and check the weather today. If I see my shadow between 11 and noon, I then will know that I'm out too soon. I'll crawl back in bed for 6 more weeks. Pull up the warm covers and snore, but if no shadow gives me a scare, I know that spring is in the air. I'll make my friends and wish them cheer with glorious news that spring is here. That's what I want, spring. All right, so now we're going to tell the story. It's kind of a fable or a fairy tale of why the groundhog came to be. So it starts with 7 wolves. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 wolves, and of course, a groundhog. The groundhog said, now that you've caught me, you will eat me, and you'll have something good to eat. But the groundhog said again, when we find good food, we must rejoice over it, as people do in green corn dance. I know you mean to kill me and eat me, and I can't help myself, but if you want to dance, I'll sing for you. This is a new dance entirely. I'll lean up against 7 trees in turn, and you will dance out and then turn and come back as I will give the signal, and at the last turn, you can eat me. So we've got 7 wolves, and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 trees. The wolves were very hungry, but they wanted to learn this new dance, so they told him to go on ahead. The groundhog leaned up against a tree and he began to sing. And all the wolves danced out in front until he gave the signal. Woo! And at the end, then they turned and danced back in the line. That's fine, said the groundhog. Then he went over to the next tree, tree number 6. And they danced, and they danced, and they came back around, and he said, that's fine, go on to the next. So they danced, and they came back around, and he said, that's fine, until they went around to this tree, and this tree, and this tree. And when they finally got to the 7th tree, the groundhog said, very good. When you get through and get to the front of the tree, then whoever gets to it first, can have me for their dinner. So the wolves danced around the tree, and when they came back around, they saw the groundhog had run away to go back to his hole. Here he is. And the quickest wolf got to the groundhog first, grabbed hold of his tail, and snapped it off. And that is why the groundhog has a short tail. Silly little story, I know, but it's still fun. We're going to go ahead and remove all of our family board pieces to get ready for the next one. But in between time, we're going to have another fun rhyme. I see a little groundhog, furry and brown. He's popping up to look around. If he sees his shadow, down he'll go. And then 6 more weeks of winter. Oh no. We don't want that at all. Okay, we're back to our flannel board story. Groundhog, groundhog, what do you see? I see a sunshine looking at me. Sunshine, sunshine, what do you see? I see a shadow looking at me. Shadow, shadow, what do you see? I see 6 more weeks of winter. There will be. Oh, man. You guys know more than I do. I'm not sure which happened today. Okay, here we go. Another one. Groundhog, groundhog, what do you see? What do you see, groundhog? I know I keep thinking about that. I'm really wondering what happened today. On February 2nd, the groundhog looked about. The sun was shining brightly, but his shadow wasn't out. Mr. Woolly Bear was watching the groundhog search around. Mr. Groundhog, look behind you. Your shadow's on the ground. Hooray, said the groundhog shouted. For once we both agree. 6 more weeks of winter weather and 6 more weeks of sleep for me. Now, I get that they'd want to sleep for 6 more weeks of winter. I would love that too, but I'm just not a winter fan. Our last rhyme is about, and it's a flannel board story, it's called 5 Little Groundhogs. The first little groundhog digs a hole in the fall, and he curls up all winter rolled up like a ball. The second little groundhog comes out of his lair on February 2nd to get some air. The third little groundhog looks up at the sun, and then he sees his shadow, and he goes for a run. The fourth little groundhog at dark shadow peaks. He goes in his burrow for 6 more weeks. The fifth little groundhog hopes the skies will be gray so that he will know that spring is on the way. And of course, that's what I want. Hopefully we are done with winter and we are ready for spring. Until then, you guys have a great day.